Hi everyone, it's Shep. Welcome to Cutting the Crap with Shep. I hope you get something out of today's podcast or YouTube channel because it's incredibly important. We're talking about, please stop talking about failure. So I am 3 days away from competing, worked really hard, put myself in a position to hopefully be successful. And there's a couple things that I think about, okay? So when I go into a meet, I think about what's the minimum numbers that I need to get that are going to make me satisfied with my work. The second is, if I go above that, what's the second thing that would make me pretty darn happy? And the third one would be, man, that went way better than even what my highest expectations are. But in all three of those instances, even the bottom standard, if I don't hit that bottom number, I am never going to say that was a failure. I'm never going to say, man, Craig, you failed, because I didn't. It just maybe didn't work out exactly how I planned it to, for many, many reasons. I could have been tired, could have not been feeling good. Maybe I overestimated my ability. But, and this is key for everybody listening, if I believe that I put in the work, put in the effort, there is no way that I would ever consider that a failure. And that is what I would say to you. When you're going after a challenge, personally, professionally, whatever it is, if you are putting in the work that is going to help you be successful, and for whatever reason it doesn't work out as planned, I would like you to tell me how that is a failure. I would like you to tell me how you failed. Instead, I'd like you to think about, if it didn't work, what could you say that I would have done differently to make it better? And I'll even relate it to something like the relationships in our lives. Most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, the first person you meet, that you go out with, is not usually, again, not always, is not usually the person that you end the rest of your life with or marry, right? Well, if it didn't work, does that make it a failure? No, it just means it didn't work. The person wasn't for you, you weren't for them, whatever it is. And now you, throughout life, figure out, okay, these are the things that I'm looking for in a partner. Those are the things that they're looking for, and hopefully that plays out. And you kind of figure that out over time. It's the same thing professionally in your job or whatever you're doing. We're always reassessing things to figure out what is going to work best for us. And this is critical, is if you're not willing to put in the time, the energy, and the effort, again, and this is kind of semantics, many people will say, well, you were a failure, you failed. Nope. Maybe you just weren't motivated enough. Maybe it wasn't for you. It doesn't make it a failure. It just means that you just didn't feel like doing it. And again, some people will say that's a failure. I have a much better term. I would say that you just quit. And I know that people are listening say, oh my God, you quit. Again, there are many things in life that we do that don't work, and we decide to try something else. Does that make us a quitter? Does that make us a failure? Not in my world, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. Are there times where we failed at something? I mean, maybe, but more often than not, I don't think that's the case. I think that it's embracing taking on those challenges that are going to work for us. And sometimes things don't work and we don't achieve the goal because we overestimated our ability level. Maybe we didn't realize going in how daunting something was. And I'll give you another example. Years ago when I was young, and I've always been into lifting, something I've done since I've been a kid, but I also did a lot of running and biking. So I did this event, it was called Liberty to Liberty. And it was a bike and run race from the Statue of Liberty to the Liberty Bell, was July 4th. And I had trained really hard, I worked really hard, trained with some other people, and I really felt that I was ready to go. I was in great shape. On the day it was like 104 degrees and windy. And to make it long story short, you had to run first. You did like a 10K, and then you had this long bike ride, and then you had to do the rest of the ride, and then run another 10K over the Ben Franklin Bridge. It was so windy and so hot that people were dropping like flies. They were just falling off because it was so hot. And myself, I was struggling like crazy. It was incredibly hard. It literally took me from like 9 o'clock in the morning to like 9 o'clock at night to finish. And I didn't get nearly the time that I was hoping for. I mean, I was probably like 3 hours behind my goal time. But other factors made it so hard for that to happen that it definitely wasn't a failure. It just, things were out of my control that I could not do anything about, and I tried my best. And that is how I want you to kind of think about this term of failure and not using it. If you are putting your best effort in, working really hard, trying something new, and it works, awesome, that's great. Way to build that success, build on it, try something new, get better at it, and keep going. If it doesn't work, for whatever reason, you have a couple options. You can reassess your progress. Say to yourself, well, I didn't realize it was going to be that hard. I can try something new. I can try other steps to be more successful. Or I can just stop and move on. And the key there is I said stop and move on. It's not quitting. It's not failure. It's just you're making another opportunity for something else in your life. And that goes with any relationship, a business, fitness, whatever it is. Now, a lot of times, and I'll kind of finish with this, it's very catchy to talk about you have to fail to grow. No. I don't think you have to fail to grow. I think you have to experience challenges that were beyond your ability at that time. That is not failure. That is just realizing that maybe something was beyond what you were able to do. And it's the same thing in all parts of life. Personally, professionally, hobbies that you do, activities, we're always learning and growing, but not failing. Now, somebody might say, do you ever believe somebody can fail or be a failure at something? I honestly say I don't know the answer to that because there are circumstances that I'd have to really consider. I would say that maybe, again, you just quit. And if you consider that a failure, I think that's a personal choice that you make. I don't consider it a failure because I don't like that term. If I quit something, then I have to realize why I quit it. And if I do, then I try something else and go from there. So again, using the term failure and saying that you fail leads to a lot of difficulty taking on new challenges because you're always afraid that you're going to fail. I'm going to be a failure. That's a very difficult mindset to get over. And the way that you have to work through that is to take these small steps, have goals that are really achievable where you're going to have some success. And this is going to be different for each person. Some people are incredibly resilient and they're not worried about that. They just move on. But that is not everyone. Everybody's going to be different. And if you are the person who thinks I'm a failure, the way to help you get over that is to take on challenges where you really, truly believe that you're going to have some success at them. And once you do have success, it makes it much easier to take the next step and the next step. And if one of them doesn't work, you can look back on those successes and not feel like you were a failure. So I hope this helps. Thanks again for all you do. Thanks for checking it out. Please share it out because it's a really critical message. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.